Hey, I'm Nick, and today I want to talk about the benefits of using notes, but how to actually use them properly. You see, one of the easiest things to do with taking notes and when you're learning about something is to trick yourself into thinking that you're doing so well with all this note taking and you're doing so well with learning all this new content by the amount of notes that you were taking. But that isn't always the greatest measure of how well you're doing, as it's very easy to take a lot of notes. You can write down every word a lecturer is saying, or you could copy all of the content of a document down in written form, and you can fill up notebooks and notebooks of just all these words. And what you're doing, what the problem is that you aren't taking notes, you're just transcribing what you're learning about. Now, in some instances, it can be good to have almost a glossary of the terms that are talked about, especially in the more academic side of learning new things. But when you're trying to learn to do something, transcribing is only going to waste your time. So, how you take good notes is the opposite of transcribing. You put it into your own words, and this does a couple things. It summarizes it, it makes it smaller and easier to write down, easier to remember. And because it's your own words, it makes it easier to remember. Again, you're able to draw conclusions through your summaries and link it back to all the content that is discussed. And the more links that you have, the stronger that the connection is in your mind, the easier you can remember and learn whatever you're taking notes on. But like I said, this doesn't come without firstly disregarding the amount of notes that you're taking as a sign of what you are learning. In fact, the best way to find out if you are learning a lot, if you've learned a lot, or however you want to put it, is not by taking notes, but by taking actions. Now, taking actions is a good thing for other reasons, but firstly, I want to tap into the fact that taking actions, you'll remember more. You remember more of what you learn from taking action than you do listening, hearing, and jotting it down and trying to remember it that way. It kind of taps into your muscle memory in a way. Now, this can be hard to do if you're learning about something that isn't really in front of you, like something that's more academic, like I've mentioned before, but especially when you're learning how to do something and there's a specific and physical thing that you're trying to do, taking notes on how to do it isn't always the best way to go about it. Actually, taking action with what you're seeing and what you're learning is better. And the second best way is to still use that good note taking that we talked about, but still incorporating that and actually taking actions together and learning that way. But now I want to get into the last pitfall that I'll talk about, as even if we've done all the precautions with, instead of taking bad notes, we started taking good notes. We've cut down the amount of time that we're taking jotting down things and instead actually summarizing it and linking it. And then we're actually taking action to better memorize, remember, or however you want to put it, actually learning it. Now we must balance learning new content with remembering the old content. You see, it's very, very easy to grind through things page by page, learning, then forgetting in a very short span of time. Now, I don't want to say that you should be revising absolutely everything every other day or something like that, as that can get quite cumbersome, as that can be quite cumbersome once you start getting more advanced in topics. While it's still important to do those, maybe every once a month or sparingly, it's important to learn new things, take action, and actually figure out physically how it works, and then making your own tiny tweaks and figuring out the nooks and crannies. And that is one of the best ways to learn, by making your own kind of, let's say, experiments and actually finding out from those experiments the results. But like I said, we need a balance. We cannot just go and randomly experiment with all these new things and figure out some random new stuff, and other stuff will get left behind. We need to strike a balance and routinely learn new things, and also experiment with how it links to the older stuff that you've learned, with notes and with actually doing the thing. So yeah, I hope that's helped you have a better view on note taking and stopped you from thinking that the more notes the better, and actually the value of your notes are more important. Not to mention taking action is the best way to actually remember those notes, and experimenting with new content and old content, linking those together and experimenting and mixing will let you become an expert in the field. But if you still want to learn more on productivity, I've now started one-on-one coaching, and you can book a call for that by clicking the first link in the description. But until then, I'll see you later.